Have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, the way you see the world isn't the whole story? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to break down the core ideas of insight meditation, drawing from the incredible work of Joseph Goldstein. Think of it as a journey to see reality as it actually is, without all the filters our minds put in the way.
Wow, okay. This quote from Kalu Rinpoche, it really just dives right into the deep end, doesn't it? It makes this huge kind of mind-bending claim that our normal everyday life, the world we feel so certain about, is basically an illusion. And then this paradox. How can you be nothing and everything at the same time? That's the puzzle we're going to try to piece together.
So that leads to a pretty big question, right? If we're living in some kind of illusion, how in the world do we start to see what's actually real? I mean, where do you even begin to separate the two? That's the core challenge, and that's what this is all about.
All right, first things first. To understand our situation, we got to look at the nature of this prison of the mind. And for that, the source material brings up a really powerful, really old metaphor. It's the idea that our own mind is kind of like a cave we're stuck in.
You've probably heard of this one. It's Plato's famous cave. Just picture it. You're chained up your entire life, and the only thing you can see are shadows flickering on a stone wall. Of course, you'd think those shadows are reality. You'd know nothing else. Well, in this analogy, we're the prisoners, and those shadows, those are our own thoughts, our concepts, our ideas about the world.
So what are these shadows flickering on our own mental walls? Well, they're some of the biggest, most basic ideas we build our lives on. Things like the concept of a solid, unchanging self. The idea of time just marching forward in a straight line. Ownership. Even our concepts of man and woman. The teaching here is that these things aren't reality itself. They're just labels, mental constructs. They're the shadows on the wall.
Okay, so if we're all sitting in this cave, staring at shadows, that's kind of a bleak picture, right? The good news is there's a way out. There's a path, a way to actually loosen those chains, turn our heads, and see what's really casting the shadows. And that journey, that path out of the cave, is insight meditation. I love this metaphor the Source uses. It's like we're climbing a mountain called Mount Analog. It's this symbolic climb where every step brings us a little higher, a little closer to the summit, which is true understanding. And this isn't about just believing something, it's a real practical climb. It's about seeing for yourself. The number one tool in our climbing kit for this journey is something called bare attention. And its power is in its simplicity. Seriously, this isn't about fighting your thoughts or trying to force yourself to feel peaceful. Not at all. It's just observing. Watching what's happening in your mind and body, moment to moment, without judging it, without getting all tangled up in it. It's like being a scientist of your own experience. Okay, so how do we actually start this climb? Where's the trailhead? Well, it begins with practices that are super simple, super direct. Anyone can do them. There's really nothing mysterious or complicated about it. It all kicks off with two foundational practices. First, mindful sitting. All you do is pay attention to the simple, physical sensation of your breath. The feeling of your abdomen rising and falling, no special breathing, no counting, just feeling. And second, mindful walking. You just notice the distinct sensations of each step, the lifting of your foot, the moving through the air, and the placing it back down. And here's the crucial part. These are not breathing exercises or walking exercises. They are mindfulness exercises. Now, a lot of people hear this and think, wait a minute, if I'm paying such close attention to everything, won't that make me robotic? Won't it kill all my spontaneity? It's a great question. And the source material makes this really brilliant point. Acting like a robot on autopilot, that's not real spontaneity. True spontaneity, the real stuff, comes from a mind that's quiet and aware. A mind that can actually flow with the moment instead of just reacting based on the same old programming.
So this climb up the mountain, let's be real. It's not always a smooth, easy stroll. There are going to be some rough patches. There are obstacles, challenges that, by the way, everybody runs into. And just knowing what they are is half the battle.
They're known as the 5 hindrances, and the analogies used to describe them are just perfect. They all relate to water. Think about it. Sense desire is like pouring colored dye into clear water. Yeah, it might look pretty, but you can't see through it anymore. Anger? That's like boiling water. So turbulent you can't see your own reflection. That feeling of sluggishness or sloth? It's like a pond completely covered in thick green algae. Restlessness and worry are like a constant wind whipping up the surface, making it choppy. And doubt? Doubt is just like a bunch of mud stirred up from the bottom, making everything completely murky.
So when this stuff comes up, and it will, what do? The key is patience, especially with yourself. This quote from St. Francis de Sales says it perfectly. The point isn't to be perfect and never get distracted. The real practice is just starting over, again and again, every single time, with fresh courage.
Okay, so let's say we keep at it. We patiently work with these obstacles, we keep climbing. What's at the top? What does the world look like from the summit of this mountain?
This is where we get to the core insight, the biggest reveal of the whole journey. It turns out the last, most convincing, most stubborn shadow on the wall is the idea of me. The idea that there's this solid, permanent self at the center of it all. What the practice shows through direct experience is that what we call me isn't a thing at all. It's a process, a constantly changing flow of thoughts, feelings, and sensations.
And when that feeling of a separate, solid self starts to dissolve, something amazing happens. The feeling of other starts to dissolve too. It's not like you disappear into nothing. It's the opposite. You realize this profound sense of unity, of connection with everything. Because that wall, that barrier that made you feel separate from the world, it was an illusion all along.
The Buddha put it in the most direct way imaginable. He said it's about getting back to pure experience. So in what you see, there's just the seeing. No story about I am seeing. In what you hear, there's just the hearing. No me who is listening. It's just letting reality be what it is, right here, right now, without adding a bunch of mental commentary on top of it.
And that really brings us full circle. The whole journey, from getting out of that cave to reaching the top of the mountain, it's all a practice in one thing, letting go. Letting go of our automatic reactions, letting go of our rigid ideas, our attachments, and ultimately even letting go of this tight grip we have on the idea of self. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What actually happens when you truly let go?